Anisha, welcome. This is your pilot episode. So I would want you to start off by welcoming the audience. How would you start off?
I would start off saying it's truly been a long journey to start off this episode. And it's truly an honor and privilege to be able to come up with something like this, curated for everybody in the inclusion ecosystem, more or less like a one-stop platform where parents can find a lot of information which would help them create that multidisciplinary care for children.
Well, it's actually an honor and privilege for me to be a part of your pilot episode. We are going to start off with the name. What is the name of your podcast and why you chose it?
So the name is Included. It has two parts to it. Mm-hmm. So Included, inclusivity, neurodiversity, and a holistic inclusion of everybody into care. And we have a capital ED towards the end, which also signifies a very important component of a child's overall journey, which is education, especially education for children who are neurodivergent or individuals who are neurodivergent, which will also be a significant part of the podcast series. And therefore, we wanted to bring that together, highlighting the education part of Included.
Is your podcast all about you giving out information, or will we be seeing guests?
So we will be seeing a lot of guests. So I would be hosting them, and these guests would be from across the diverse ranges, which means you'd be seeing corporate leaders who are heads of inclusions for large groups of schools across UAE and the rest of the world. We'll be seeing parents, we'll be seeing caregivers, we'll be seeing education specialists, which could be teachers, SEN, inclusions, or even a learning support assistant who plays a really crucial part in a child's life in the classroom. We'll be hearing from a couple of colleagues who cater to the multidisciplinary care in the medical world. So we'll be seeing or hearing rather from voices which truly contribute to the ecosystem of inclusion and neurodiversity.
If I'm to understand you correctly, is this podcast only for neurodiverse children or neurotypical as well?
This is for everybody, because when we say neurodiversity, it also includes children who are neurotypical. So this podcast aims for child development altogether, be it if they're following the neurotypical or the neurodivergent pathways, because there's a lot of overlap. And a lot of times we've seen that gray zone where, for example, the child's got a diagnosis of a neurodivergent condition and is having tantrums. So now a lot of times parents come back and like, is this the normal tantrum I should be expecting for a child this age, or do I put this tantrum onto the diagnosis or the condition that the child has, right? And for a lot of times, it goes either pushed under the carpet or it gets really, really exposed as a big thing. So the podcast tries to bring along just pure elements of child development and growth without certainly having to differentiate, but see them as a whole.
So you're the host of Included, but let's speak about you, Dr. Hanisha Pinamaraju. Who is she, and how has her journey been from back home, India, to the UAE?
Well, for most of them who know me, I'm a developmental pediatrician and also a truly passionate advocate for inclusion and neurodiversity. My journey in the medical year started way back in 2005. So I've done my bachelor's in medicine and surgery, which is the MBBS, following which I did my master's in pediatrics. That's been the passion always. And during our training in pediatrics, we run through different subspecialties or super specialties rather. And one of the areas which really always connected a lot to me was neonatology, which is the newborn specialty, and the field which catered to developmental medicine and behavioral part of pediatrics. It's interesting because I've also specialized in neonatology. So I've done my training and I've worked in the NICU for almost 3 to 4 years. And a part of the NICU training was looking after children who were born extremely preterm, which means 23 weeks, 24 weeks, barely 400, 500 grams, where we would follow up to see how their neurodevelopmental outcomes were, because yes, there is survival, but also how intact is their neurological system. And in this journey, I've met a lot of families who've also had children with some kind of neurodevelopmental challenges. And thereby, I would say the interest further deepened, saying that I need to be more equipped to be able to help families who have children in the neurodivergent spectrum. So I went and further specialized myself in developmental and behavior pediatrics. And thereafter, I've just been doing a lot of work exclusively in this field. I've moved to the UAE about 5 years ago, and I've been practicing as developmental pediatrician. Currently, I'm based at Shine Child Development Center, and we have a multidisciplinary team. We're trying to create the holistic ecosystem for children across the UAE. And it's been a great journey.
So tell us, who benefits from your podcast, Dr. Hanisha?
It's going to be every parent or every caregiver, rather every adult who is around child and childcare, right? Because truly what we want to bring around is inclusivity, and not just segregating families who need to be included, but rather this podcast aims to reach out to a larger population outside who needs to create that circle to allow these families to feel included. So it would be for everybody, every parent, every educator, every teacher, every Senko, every doctor, healthcare professional. I would say everybody who's around a child.
And how many episodes in a month can we expect?
We're going to start off with one episode in a month, and maybe along the way we will see if we want to go up to 2 based on how we're able to schedule it.
Speaking of schedule, can you tell me, what does a day in a life of a development pediatrician look like? Your day specifically.
Right. So like we were discussing, I do work with a lot of schools, and schools start really early. So my day can start off as early as 7:30, where I visit schools to talk to teachers, to observe a child in their classroom environment, because that's way different from what you see a child in the clinic sometimes. And putting myself out there in the classroom or the school gives me a lot more input and helps me guide teachers or the LSA or the therapy team around a lot better in creating that program for a child. Usually post this would be a quick run back to the clinic where I'd have my schedules for the rest of the day, a couple of assessments, meeting with parents. And we also do a lot of holistic training for, let's say, LSAs or support givers who are there. So that also gets included in a part of the day. And then a lot of time goes in creating these reports or meeting with the collaborative team. So it's kind of a mix of different things that go in. But yeah, what truly keeps us going is how every small step or milestone of the child or the family's journeys gets celebrated along the way.
And then how do you manage time for yourself?
That's a tricky question. I think that's been a bit of a challenge these days, especially given the season and the holidays going on. But yes, trying to get better with my own executive function skills, so I organize and plan myself better.
Is there anything else that you would want to tell your listeners and your audiences?
Certainly, what I would encourage is allowing this information to go on to as many parents as possible. Because like I always say, even with the coffee mornings that we go to or parent meetings that we do, it's usually always or mostly always parents or families of neurodivergent children who come in, right? And a lot of times the information which we try to convey is something which all of them know because they've been through their journeys, they've been advocating for their children, they've been a part of the whole learning experience of how these systems work in school and across the society. But what we truly aim to is capture the rim, which allows these families to feel included. So I would definitely want a lot more of, let's say, a common man to be able to listen to these episodes and truly be motivated to feel, okay, what is that we can do as a person to, let everybody feel included in the society.
Okay, so have you practiced your intros?
No.
Can I put you on the spot? And can we probably listen to one right now where you introduce that this is your pilot episode, and what would you want to tell the audience for your intro? Let's have a go. I know you did not prepare, so I'm going to put you on the spot right now.
Right. So I'm just going to
Just wing
try.
it. Yes.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Hanisha, developmental pediatrician, and here to introduce a series of podcasts called Included. We're going to have a great array of speakers who are going to voice out how brilliantly they contribute to the ecosystem of inclusion and neurodiversity across the UAE. And we hope you're going to have fun listening to these podcasts and bring out a lot more inclusivity and love around. Welcome to our first episode, which is the pilot episode, and hope you have some fun.